Sir Keir Starmer could be on the brink of his biggest betrayal yet. Do you remember this?
Determined to put money back in the pockets of working people.
We made an absolute commitment in relation to not raising tax on working people.
We will not raise tax on working people. No tax rises for income tax, for national insurance, for VAT.
We will not raise income tax.
He promised no more taxes on working people. No hike to income tax, national insurance or VAT. Well, 2 days ago, it emerged that this...
£22 billion black hole.
The £22 billion black hole of £22 billion. Of the £22 billion black hole,
The £22 billion in-year black hole
is now a £50 billion black hole. £50 billion. And in order to fill it, Rachel Reeves is almost certainly going to have to hike taxes. Sir Keir Starmer was asked directly if he would increase taxes on working people in the autumn. And he did his usual trick of not answering the question, followed by a bit more nasally guff, delivered with a glazed, robotic look in his eye.
Some of the figures that have been put out are not figures that I recognise, but the budget won't be until later in the year, and that's why we'll have the forecast then, and we'll set out our plans.
There's a marked difference there, isn't there, between his answer to that question and what he was saying in the run-up to the general election, and interestingly, actually, in Parliament as well. So that could be quite interesting, couldn't it, if it turns out, hypothetically, that he's misled Parliament. But for anyone who says that this is just a right-wing conspiracy, and even The Guardian has picked up on this now. This is The Guardian's headline on it, so they are across it. Under Labour, working people are already being taxed more. Business owners, farmers, and it looks like they're about to hike your council tax even more as well. And it'll be interesting to see if you get any more bin collections or potholes filled in for your extra cash, or whether it all just goes towards that local migrant hotel. There were signs that this might happen. After all, the PM spoke about working people, but if you remember, he wasn't able to tell you what being working class was.
What is a working person? A working person...
Simon Cowell?
Well, a working person is someone who works their living...
I've got that.
And uses our public services. The person I have in mind...
Simon Cowell?
The person I have in my mind, Nick, when I say working people, is people who earn their living, rely on our services, and don't really have the ability to write a cheque when they get into trouble. So the sort of people I'm meeting pretty well every day now.
Pathetic, isn't it? Well, we're more than a year into this Labour government now, and Labour only have themselves to blame. They haven't had to deal with the pandemic. The war in Ukraine was already well underway. The economic mess is largely down to their own incompetence. Unemployment is at its highest level in 4 years. Why? Well, because they came after business owners, didn't they? Then they failed to cut the welfare budget because their own MPs voted against it. And by the way, we're just all expected, are we? We are all expected to just forget that this utter debacle happened.
And may I take this opportunity to thank our outstanding British Transport Police for everything that they do to support staff and passengers.
Yeah, we'll just forget that, shall we? Now, she's the woman to get us out of this mess, isn't she? I mean, paying to give away Chagos, giving out huge pay rises to the unions, continuing to fork out billions on illegal immigration, the list goes on and on and on. If Labour raises taxes on working people, then we are going to have a general election because the public cannot cope with this level of deceit anymore. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We've got Reform Councillor Jamie McIver, political commentator Chloe Dobbs, and former Labour Party advisor Matthew Larzer. Go on, Jamie, I'll start with you on this. This looks like it could be Keir Starmer's biggest betrayal yet if working people get taxed more, surely.
No, actually, I think the biggest betrayal of this Prime Minister is paying another country to take our overseas territory. That is the biggest betrayal. That is the worst thing any state can do to itself. But you're right, this is going to really hit the pockets of working people. What I think this does, actually, far greater than damaging Keir Starmer's reputation, because that's already, down below, what this does is it completely destroys faith in politicians. People all the time say to me, I can't bear politicians. They say one thing, they do another. And the Prime Minister massive majority in House of Commons, has come in, promised he wouldn't do something, and they are going to do it. And they're doing it not because of the horrific circumstances they inherited, albeit horrific. They're doing it because of their own decisions, political decisions, ideological decisions.
That's the key point. I'll bring you in this, Chloe. I mean, how much of this economic mess is their fault, do you think?
I think that Rachel Reeves has made a complete mess of the economy. Of course, they inherited a not-so-perfect situation, but there's only so many times that she can stand there and say, oh, it's because of this 22 billion black hole that we inherited. She decided to raise taxes by 40 billion quid in the autumn budget and thought that that was somehow going to grow the economy. Consequently, you've got all of the rich people fleeing the country, taking their money elsewhere. Rachel Reeves, before she came in, she thought she could make all these promises about not raising taxes, because she thought, I can just do a big capital gains tax and that will sort it out, that will balance the books. Then she got in and the Treasury ran the numbers and went, no, that's not going to work because a bunch of rich people are going to leave the country. That will barely make you any money. And so she's been scrambling to make any money where she can. Meanwhile, you've got growth forecasts always being downgraded. We had 2 months of negative economic growth and consequently, there's more money to find. And then you have, for example, the borrowing costs going up and up and up. After she cried, you saw those the bond yields really reflected that, which means you end up with... That's partly why you get these black holes emerging, is because of just the debt servicing cost going up and up and up. And with that interest rate cut that we have had today, Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer saying, oh, it's good news, but actually, if you look at the bond yields, the markets are not so sure about this. They think it's just a sign of how bad the economy is going. Yeah, well, just on that, I mean, what is Keir Starmer going to do? Some working people's taxes are going to have to go up. And he was a clip that we played there of him in Parliament saying that he wouldn't do that. That's a problem, isn't it?
I don't think that income tax, national insurance, in terms of the employee's contribution or VAT will go up. But there's going to have to be, something is going to have to go up, for sure. I think what's quite interesting is you've seen Gordon Brown over the last few days talk about things like massive increase in tax on gambling, which would bring in $2.5 billion. So I think you're thinking things like that they will do. I don't think that there will be... I think they will keep... I think the promise was very inelegantly phrased because what they should have done is what Tony Blair and, in fact, Gordon Brown did before all of those elections, which is say we're not going to put up income tax, the basic rate, rather than this phrase working people. I have to say, you know, as a Labour advisor, sometimes ministers send me things and there's like 7 references to working people in, and I said, come on, the phrase is meaningless because you can't define it. Because you saw there the Prime Minister struggles to define it. We all know what the rate of income tax is. If you're not going to put that up, say that, rather than this vague phrase, which I think does lead to some cynicism.
Well, the latest polls that I've seen, by the way, shows that Sir Keir Starmer is about to lose his own seat to a party that currently doesn't have a name. I think it's what they call Your Party. Your Party. He is set to lose his seat on the back of it. As things currently stand, I think Ed Miliband could lose his seat, Jess Phillips could lose his seat, Rachel Reeves could lose his seat. I mean, it will be absolute carnage for them. If taxes go up in autumn, I just think it's game over.
I don't think they need the help of another left-wing party. I think they're toast as it is. I think I think Labour are toast, and the Tories, they are toast. But I do need to respond to that. The idea that you raise taxes on something like gambling and that's going to bring in loads of money. No, people are just going to gamble left. They haven't got any money in their pockets. You raise the price of something doesn't mean that they're going to suddenly start buying more of it. It doesn't work. Raising taxes is not how you get your way out of this. You have to make efficiencies, which is we're having to do this as a party. Reform UK having to do this in our councils, and it's working. Just today, Kent County Council, £2,000 less a day on interest because of political decisions. This is all about political decisions.
It's not, Jamie, it's about political decisions, and it's about whether or not people want investment in their NHS. So included in the budget, which did include the national insurance for employers increase, was £29 billion extra for the NHS. If Reform don't want that, they need to tell the British people they're going to have to wait longer for their operation.
Self-inflicted mess by your own decision.
The reality is Rachel Reeves, in theory, has the option to make cuts and save money instead of putting up taxes. But she's not going to be able to do that. Look what happened when they tried to put through this welfare bill. That was only going to shave £5 billion off the enormous welfare bill that's going to expected to go up to £100 billion. If there was such an outcry over that and it all got toppled.
And Reform wants to spend more money on welfare because their two-child benefit cap. You want to get rid of it. You want to hide the welfare bill, Jamie. It's all talk. You can talk about instant savings, but you want to spend billions extra on the welfare bill. Fact.
I understand you want to scrutinise the incoming government from the next general election, but we are a few years away from that, and trust me, it will all be very clear. But what I think the point you're making...
Sorry, Jamie, does Reform or not want to scrap the two-child benefit cap?
Reform are going to make things very efficient, and they are going to do the opposite.
Nigel has made clear he wants to do that, James.
Let's be very clear about that.
You want to spend more on welfare.
Let's just have a look at this as what's about to happen. So the shift from Sir Keir Starmer, we played you all the clips there before the last election, no tax on working people. He was asked directly about it yesterday. He gave a very, very different answer. I just don't see how... Like, surely that would be a deceit too far for the British public, wouldn't it? If he then hiked tax on working people. We're already paying more tax on working people. Council tax, I just said it. I mean, that's going to go up.
I mean, people are going to be absolutely furious. I mean, they are furious enough as it is because we've had lie after lie after lie over the past year. But this will be the cherry on top that really angers people. And the reality is that income tax rise is coming. I mean, Matthew can talk about putting up a tax on gambling, but it might raise a few coffers, and you've still got people saying, oh, don't worry, we'll just do some big wealth tax on the rich and that will sort it out. I mean, did they learn nothing from what happened with the nom-doms and the thousands and thousands of company directors leaving the country? That's not going to work. They're going to have to put income tax up, or Rachel Reeves breaks her fiscal rules. I think income tax is going to be what goes up, and people will be angry, but they're going to have absolutely no choice.
I think
because they've messed up the economy so badly.
I think on income tax they will hold that absolutely sacrosanct, and therefore I think what you might.
Well, what are they going to do? Do you think Rachel Reeves will break her fiscal rules?
I think they will do two things. I think they will actually have to impose cuts across the non-protected departments. That's not NHS and not defence. And I think that to show political leadership, they'll need to face down Labour MPs on welfare. And I think what they will do is something about defence spending.
But they had the opportunity to. You see, that was the thing.
Which is what other countries have done.
They had the opportunity to face down their backbenchers on welfare. They had the opportunity.
In theory.
And he didn't do it.
In theory, they're going to come back
in Parliament about it instead.
Sorry, Patrick. In theory, these welfare changes are on hold, not scrap, because they are looking at it. There was Stephen Timms, the minister, is doing a review, and they're going to come back with a package of welfare changes. That's going to be a big package. It was going to help make the books balance. I
mean, there's a small chance that maybe after this review, this report, that it will happen. But that has shown us clear as day that if the Labour Party tried to cut anything, their socialist ideologues that are still in the party, still on the backbenches, are going to they're not going to go down without a fight. They are going to fight tooth and nail over every single thing. And they may have kicked a few people out of the party, but I don't think that has exactly restored unity in the party.
Jeremy, just final word to you on this, because I do feel as though the general sense, and I don't know whether my viewers and listeners feel this, it's the impression I get, people feel as though they're already being squeezed as much as they possibly can, and that the country's already being squeezed, and that there's so much waste of the money that they are being asked to eke out every single month as well. It just seems like we're kind of in financial decline personally, per capita. I think they're on very shaky ground, Labour, if they do anything different in the autumn.
People that get up every morning early, go to work, put a shift in, can't put food on the table for their families. They go to food banks like the one I've got in my division as a councillor, and already people are suffering. You do this, it's the first thing that angers people is the financial impact on their pockets. The second thing, of course, is going to be the fact they've been lied to. But I'll tell you something, Patrick, we're 1 year into this government. They have no discipline on their members of Parliament. You've got a weak Prime Minister that literally lies to the public daily, and you've got a Chancellor that's incompetent.
I mean, don't talk about your members of Parliament. Hang on, Rupert Lowe had to go, and the other one who's in a bit of trouble had to go. That's half your parliamentary party you were elected with a year ago. Well, so we're not taking any lessons from Reform on discipline in a parliamentary party.
There you go. All right. We're gonna have to move on there. But look, I just thought I'd raise that really, because I think there's two major issues to talk to. We're going to talk about the other one next. Talk about it a lot on this show. It's illegal immigration and legal immigration. But the other issue is of course the economy. It's the money in your pocket, isn't it? And that was on the front of two national newspapers today. So I thought we'd give it a crack.